Gregg, Maya, and Betty are not experts, nor do they claim to be. They're just a bunch of nerds who enjoy talking about movies, shows, and current events. So sit back, grab a coffee, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode of All Queued Up.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Queued Up, your review podcast tied to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, HBO Max, whatever. Yada, 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 as I said. I'm your host, Gregg. With me always is Maya, Don Fisher, and Betty Batcher. How are you two been this week?
So far pretty good. Maya?
I'm angry. I'm angry at a lot of things.
Well, yeah.
We'll get into why I'm angry, but I mean, I'm good, but I'm angry. How are you, Gregg?
Doing all right. My dad's looking better, doing better. He's not struggling as much as he was.
That's great news.
Yeah, he's looking on the up and up, which is what I want. I mean, he'll never be like 100% because of other medical issues, but the current one that I had to rush him to the ER for is it's getting better. So stress levels are a little bit down, which is awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, we're glad to hear that he is improving and on the mend.
Yes.
Yeah. So I we'll talk about something here in a second that I want to kind of get into because it's a fun story. But want everyone to understand that we are not going to be reviewing the individual episodes up until the finale of Y the Last Man. Because for the stupidest fucking reasons, FX has decided to cancel the series. We here at All Queued Up are very unhappy about this news because A, we were really enjoying the show, regardless of how much I paid attention. And it seemed people in general enjoyed the show. So it makes very little sense as to why they're canceling it until this morning, roughly a minute before we started recording. Maya, would you like to get into this garbage?
Yeah, I pulled up an article on the Hollywood Reporter, and the long story short is the show was picked up 6 years ago for development, and stars were attached to it as far back as 2018. Showrunners were hired in 2016. Stars were attached to it, the following year. Recasts happened, and then the pandemic happened, and delays and delay after delay, and the production finally started in October of last year. They had to change showrunners. Basically, their budget per episode was $8.5 million. They managed to come in under budget on every single episode, so it cost them less than $85 million to make season 1. October 15th was the deadline to make a decision to carry on with the second season or not. Because of delays, they had to offer contract options to several of the actors. They declined to pay $3 million to further extend these contract options. $3 measly fucking million, which is nothing to a network like this. Show canceled over $3 million to get out of paying a little bit extra for shit that was beyond anybody's fucking control with a pandemic. I mean, what the ever-loving mother blue fuck?
One of the most hotly desired shows amongst comic book readers for fucking years. Like, the first piece of news that I remember hearing about Y the Last Man becoming either a movie series or a TV series was Dan Trachtenberg, who directed 12 Cloverfield Lane, or is it 12?
10 Cloverfield Lane.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he directed that movie, and he was supposed to be tied to doing the show, And then like a year later, he dropped out, and then the fucking show went into just production limbo. Nobody knew where it was going to happen with it. It kept passing hands. So finally, when this show was being made, I was all excited about it. And it comes out, and it seems to be well received for the most part. Of course, you have your detractors, but nothing substantial. Nothing that would constitute a fucking cancellation.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's not even been enough time for the data to come in to see exactly how viewership is going. There's no long-term data on it. It's just been, it's just over $3 million fucking dollars that, is pocket change to these people. It's
wild.
Fucking, there is hope, but it's slim. But the showrunners are shopping it to other platforms. There's a chance that, and Netflix has a good track history with picking things up and carrying them on. There's a good chance that somebody like Netflix could pick it up, or Amazon Prime. But unfortunately, it's not going to be. It's not sticking with Disney. So they'll have to sell off the property and rights to season 1. And the FX, in the report, it does say FX is supportive of this move. So here's hoping that somebody snatches it up and they can continue on without any serious delays in production. I would love for Netflix to grab it and say, yeah, we'll run with this.
Yeah, we'll be on top of the news. So whenever we have news about where the show's going to go, or if we hear anything about like what potential network could be buying it, we'll definitely bring it up because I've been wanting this show for a long time. Maya's been wanting the show for a long time, and Betty, you were enjoying the shit out of it.
Oh yeah, I was excited when I heard about it. I thought the concept was really neat, and I've been enjoying the show, so I'm really upset that they just up and did this, and like it hasn't even had a chance.
Nope, it's a fucking. But what we are gonna do over here is when the season's over, we're gonna have an episode where we talk about the whole season, and I really really hope it gets picked up by another studio. Netflix, looking at you. Amazon Prime, what's up? Just
Peacock, how you doing?
It's a shame. It really is a shame.
$3 million, man. $3 million. You know what the title of this episode is going to be? It's going to be 4 fucking letters. FUFX.
Wouldn't that constitute? No, I guess FX is one word if you really think about it.
I said 4 letters. I didn't say 4 words.
Oh! I thought you said 4 words. Or yeah, I thought you said 4 words. Anyway, all right. So, to move on to like lighter topics, we on this particular podcast, we plan on reviewing the upcoming Hawkeye show, Sandman. I'm gonna read the comic before that show comes out. We got oh my god, what is the name of the book series that's coming out that I just can't remember the name of suddenly, Betty?
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time. I was like, it starts with a fucking W. Why am I drawing a blank? I had it right before I said it too, which is the worst goddamn part.
We've got season 2 of The Witcher coming.
That's right, yeah.
There's lots of stuff in the pop that we're going to be reviewing when it comes out. It's really frustrating when something we were all 3 really enjoyed that was giving us something weekly to talk about.
Yeah.
Is just snatched away from us.
Yeah, it's fucking
over $3 million.
All right. So we are going to keep this podcast short. We don't have anything to review. It's going to be kind of an uninhibited, but what I did want to talk about, I kind of talked a little bit with Maya because she's watched wrestling, and I grew up on wrestling as well. Betty, how much wrestling have you watched, just out of curiosity?
More than I've ever wanted to.
Monday morning, I go work out. I'm at home. I'm like, oh, it's Monday, and I like to work later on Mondays just because they've gone to work. They don't want to cook at night, so that's when they usually order. And plus, it's Monday Night Football, so it's a good night to make money. So I'm just chilling. It's like literally noon, I think it was, and I had just taken my shower, and I turned on because I got that Nickelodeon fighting game, and I was like, I want to beat it with every single character before I return it, and so I started playing as Aang, and my brother calls me, and I was like, all right, pause the fucking game, and he goes, so what are you doing today? And I was like, I planned on working, but that's about it. And he goes, well, my friend gave me 2 tickets to see Raw tonight, WWE Raw. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll fucking go. Like, why not? I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. I haven't kept up with any of the stories. So I had literally no idea what the fuck was going on when I went. But I love wrestling. Like, it's fun. And so I drive down to his house, and we're just chilling for a little bit. And he goes, so it says on the tickets that they're loft seats. And I was like, what does that mean? He was like, probably like in the middle section up top. And I was like, oh, okay, no big deal. Like that whatever. It's cool. And he was like, and if we don't want to like hang out because we don't really like the storylines or the wrestling or whatever, we don't have to hang out. I was like, cool, we'll just check out the Golden One Center since it's new in Sacramento. And
Now, a quick question: is the Golden One Center, is that? I know Sacramento has the Kings NBA team. Is that going to be their new home?
Yep, it's been their new home for 2 years now, 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I've not been keeping up with the NBA in a while because the NBA is boring to me. It's a soft league, I think. College basketball is much more exciting and hard-nosed.
That's totally fucking understandable. Like, yeah, because last night my friend Andy was watching one of the games, and it was the team that LeBron James plays on, and he fucking hates LeBron James.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not a fan. I mean, he's talented, but he's not the greatest ever. Sorry.
I think that's what drives Andy nuts, is that he's not humble.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But anyway, so we were like, I was kind of excited. I was like, sweet, I just walk around the fucking Golden One Center, and maybe we can walk around downtown and get something to eat. Like, that was my thought process. Didn't know I was going to actually enjoy watching Raw as much as I did. But yeah, we get to the Golden One Center. We can't figure out what line to go in, but we do eventually figure it out. And there was a moment I was fucking cracking up because they were requiring vaccination ticket or papers, the card, I should say. And this dude didn't have his vaccination at all. Like, he hadn't got any shots, and he had already bought his ticket. And I'm just listening to him fucking argue with this poor soul about like him getting in and all this kind of stuff, and I'm just giggling. Like, he's not going to get in. They're not going to let him fucking in.
Well, they act like if they argue hard enough for long enough, they'll get what they want. And that's not how the real world works,
Nope.
sweetie.
Yeah, it was so fucking dumb, and I was just laughing. But
you had a real life Karen in the wild.
The other one, there's 2 situations. The other one was this dude was fully vaccinated, but he didn't want to wear his face diaper, as he called it.
Jesus Christ.
just like, dude. All right.
What?
Yeah, Betty, does she sound fucking robotic?
Yeah, she sure as shit does.
It's fun. It's fun. What's funny is we probably on the recording will sound robotic.
What about now?
It's perfect.
Now you're fine.
Sorry. So what I was saying, yeah, call it a face diaper because of all this shit that spewing out of the person's mouth, I guess.
100%. What exactly he said was, because he wasn't bitching for long, a woman told him to put on his mask because it's required to get in. And his response was, well, I don't shit my pants either, but here we are.
Okay.
And then he was like,
How do we know you don't shit your pants? We're just supposed to take your word for it? Pants shitter?
So that was it with him. And then we got in line, we went in, we had to go through metal detectors, yada yada, the whole gamut. And Josh was like, do you want to walk around a little bit first? I was like, well, let's find our seats, let's see where we're sitting before we do any of that. And he was like, okay. So he's like, okay, well, I see L01 up there and the ticket says L01. I was like, okay, cool. So we go to the stairs and the woman's like trying to get our ticket or look at our ticket, and he scans both of them, and she was like, okay, you're in loft 06. And I'm going to very briefly show you the video. I'm not going to use the audio, by the way, because that's copyrighted. That would be bad for us. I'll
make you bigger.
Yeah, maybe.
Hold on.
You're good.
There we go.
All right. I'm trying to. There we go. Perfect. There we go.
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, this is the video that you sent me.
Yeah, did I say I sent you the edited one? I did, right, with the John Cena music.
No.
Oh. Yeah, I won't play that one because that has John Cena music. But yeah, look at this
Jesus Christ! Who the fuck are his friends?
It was his boss that gave him the tickets, wasn't it?
No, it was a friend. I'll explain in a second.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
great fucking seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh,
you're not down with the plebes.
So, yeah, we were both just like, the fuck? How did Sid get these? So the friend is a I've told you guys about Trash Film Orgy and watching those old movies and making fun of them and just having a great time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the woman that ran that was the one that gave Josh these tickets.
Oh,
and
awesome.
I don't know how she got them. I don't know if she got them from somebody or they were given to her. I have no clue, nor do I care. But Josh and I were not expecting those seats. And we asked a woman if there was anybody else that was going to come into those rooms. She said, I don't think so. She was wrong, because throughout the night, they just kept letting people in. As you saw in the video, there are 4 bar seats and 4 chairs down just below that. Mm-hmm. So why did they allow 12 people into that fucking box, while the other 2 boxes to our left were empty?
I would have totally said, hey, can I just go over to this empty box? Because I don't want to be around all these fucking germ spreaders.
Josh did. And she was just like, oh, well, those are saved for somebody else that they didn't show up. So whatever. And people ended up leaving anyway out of our box. So you were
farting a lot, right? You were farting and they didn't want to sit in your fart cloud.
I was just ripping garlic farts.
Nice.
Just fucking circling it like a fucking anyway, so Josh and I go, let's go get some drinks. So we go downstairs.
$8 for 20 ounce.
Oh, it's worse than that. So it was a 24-ounce can. $15.
Of what?
Beer.
Can of what?
Beer.
Oh, okay. I was talking soda.
No, soda was $10. The soda that I bought was $10. Yeah.
Now I have some insight on these WWE events. When they go to an arena like this, and I've attended WWE Raws before, and I had one experience several years back. The last one I went to, the day of the show, they realized that ticket sales were not what they had anticipated, and they moved the stage 60 feet closer to the ring.
Wow.
So instead of having a longer entranceway, they shortened it by 60 feet. We had seats that would have been halfway down the entrance ramp, But because they moved the fucking stage, we were behind the Titantron and couldn't see half of the fucking ring.
Oh, that sucks.
So we tried to get moved and they wouldn't move us. So we fucking left and we were talking to a manager and he's like, yeah, when WWE comes and does these events, they rent the entire arena. We make a flat rate off of the event. The concession stands are rented out by WWE. So all profits they make and prices are mandated by WWE. That's the prices that they set. It differs from what the arena normally charges. So your $15 beer was probably a $10 beer, and your $10 soda was probably an $6 to $8 soda. They add on to that, and they don't even have to supply the stuff. They take directly from the inventory that the arena has.
Yeah, I'm not terribly surprised. Because it was all like all the screens were digital, so easy adjustment. But yeah, it was like my brother bought 2 beers, I bought 1, and he paid for it. And I was like, "Are you sure?" He was like, I agree. It was ridiculous. It was way over the top. Yeah, and then I bought us food, and that cost me about $35. Which wasn't too bad.
What'd you get? Pair of hot dogs and fries?
I wanted a hot dog, but I got a burger that came with fries, and then bought a side of garlic fries. And my brother just got 2 things of French fries, which still expensive at a $35 price hike. But whatever.
Yeah,
fucking popcorn was ridiculous. Like that line was like around the goddamn arena. I was like, why do you have one fucking popcorn booth? Anyway, yeah, we watched the show, and it was really funny because if you've been to a Raw event, they do a thing before it where they record a couple matches for a Saturday show called Main Event, and you get to watch those before Raw. And there was a guy that came out like Bearcat. What's his last name? Bearcat Lee is what his name was. And he came out, and the crowd that was there at that moment was like fucking hooting and hollering. And I was like, oh, he's really popular. And Josh was like, oh, this dude's fucking amazing. And it was a squash match. You know, it was some jobber that went out there with Bearcat, and Bearcat just fucking like in like a few minutes, you know, pinned him. That was it. It was a very quick match. And I was like, well, all right. Like, why was everyone crazy about Bearcat? And apparently Bearcat used to wrestle for the fucking thing that Hunter does. The
NXT.
NXT. Thank you. Jesus, yeah. So Bearcat used to wrestle for NXT, and people who watch NXT fucking loved him. So they brought him into the WWE to put him on Raw, and then didn't. And they've changed his name like 3 or 4 times, and they just will not let him on Raw. Fucking no clue why. Just Vince is a fucking asshole, but we've all known that.
Oh, that's Keith Lee. People loved him.
Yeah. Yeah, so then the show started, and it was like a bunch of fucking wrestlers I haven't heard of because I haven't watched wrestling in so long that they brought out this girl named Charlotte Flair, and I was like, is she related to
Flair's
Ric Flair?
daughter?
Right. I look at Josh and I was like, she related to Ric Flair? And he goes, oh, it's his daughter. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay, that's dope. And then they did a close-up to her face on the Titantron. I went, you didn't tell me she looks like Ric Flair. Which he just fucking started laughing.
No, it's totally female version of Rick.
It really, really, really is. She's an excellent fucking wrestler, just FYI. But
oh, absolutely.
And she was going up against Bianca Belair for the women's title at the end of Raw. And just spoiler alert, their match at the end was like the best match of the night. Like I like Xavier Woods, but his match was ridiculous. Like Xavier Woods he's a fun dude, and they're ramping up to this event that's supposed to film tomorrow called
Crown Jewel.
Thank you. And they're gonna have 2 events, which is the King's Crown and the Queen's Crown. And they were doing a bracket style thing to lead up to it. And I knew that they were gonna they were gonna have Xavier win, but like the match he had with Jinder Mahal was just like Xavier gets his ass kicked constantly for fucking 10 minutes and then suddenly does a special and wins. I was like, oh, we're doing classic WWF. I got it. Understand.
Basically, he's playing Ricky Morton, getting beat down and selling the offense, and then, makes his hot comeback.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking at the card lineup. Big E and Drew McIntyre versus Ziggler and Bobby Roode.
So that was a fun match because Drew McIntyre and Big E are fantastic. And I love Ziggler. Ziggler's a great ring worker. And then there was another tag match. It was the Street Profits versus
Arcade Bro.
Okay, bro. Like, no joke, Street Profits already fucking funny. Arcade Bro, hilarious. Their match was super fun. Like, I really enjoyed like watching them, but it was ended because like there's this team up between AJ Styles, who's like 5'4", like the dude's short, and
he's a little guy.
They teamed him up.
Fucking with a amazing.
Oh, he's a fantastic wrestler. Yeah, they teamed him up with a dude that's like 7 foot tall. So it's like the fucking height discrepancy between Osmos, I think his name was, and fucking AJ Styles is like perfect for tag matches. Like, I was like, oh my god, that's actually legitimately fun. So yeah, the tag stuff I really enjoyed. Some of the other matches were okay. Like, they were just kind of hitting the notes that they needed to hit and then got out of the ring. It felt like they didn't really want to be there. But it was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. To which Maya and my buddy Andy and my brother were just like, watch AEW. Okay. I'll fucking watch AEW.
There's only a handful of wrestlers on WWE that I enjoy, and I can't watch their TV anymore. I've not watched their live TV in years, and I had been watching just their pay-per-views because I had the network, and then I have Peacock, so you can watch their pay-per-views on there. Their pay-per-view quality has bleh. I usually start watching around the Royal Rumble and watch through WrestleMania, and there were some okay ones, but yeah, it's gotten so bad I can't watch it anymore. And then I was like, well, I've always heard about AEW. I might check it out. And then CM Punk came back. CM Punk's my all-time favorite wrestler.
Yeah, CM Punk is a fucking fantastic guy. Like, outside of the ring and inside of the ring, like, love CM Punk.
Oh yeah. But I started watching right before they announced that they signed him. And I tuned in one night, and the first thing I see, it was this match, Chris Jericho, and he's got to wrestle, and he's going through this task from this series of challenges called the Labors of Jericho, riffing on the old Labors of Hercules from Greek mythology. He's got to wrestle through so many matches, so many weird stipulations to face this one challenge or this one opponent that he's had a feud with. But he's doing his entrance, and Chris Jericho, he has his own metal band called Fozzy, and they've got a song called Judas that's apparently a really big hit for them. He comes out to that song, and the entire fucking arena is just singing the fucking song and drowning out the music, and that's how he makes his fucking entrance. And he's just drinking it all up, taking it all in. And I was like, okay, this is immediately already better than anything WWE's done in a while. If you get that kind of crowd interaction and then put on good fucking matches, and it reminds me of the old territory days from back in the 80s. It's a lot of fun. If you like wrestling, you really, really, really need to check it out, because it's
what's
definitely not the watered down, stale, boring, every match is the same.
Right. Like, that was something I will complain about what I saw last night, is a lot of it felt way too choreographed. Like, I know that it is choreographed, but it's usually like them in the ring kind of communicating about what they're going to do. It's obviously predetermined who's going to win, but usually the stuff inside the ring isn't really super well known until they get in there. And they're just kind of like whispering shit to each other while they're about to do moves and stuff. And it's fucking great.
They don't do that as much anymore. Now shit's not called on the fly like it used to be. They have agents, and the agents script out the match with the fucking wrestlers, and they plan everything in the back, and they go out there and do it. Now they'll whisper to people to remember the spots, but the referee also knows the spots, and the referee, like when you see a referee get in on there and tell them, hey, break it up or what have you or something, he's whispering to them, okay, this is this spot. He's giving them time cues. He's like, okay, it's time to go home, do the finish, shit like that. It's different than it was back in the day.
Yeah. Like back in the Attitude Era, 98 to like 2003, which is arguably one of their most popular fucking eras.
Oh, it absolutely was.
What ended up happening there was like Triple H and a few others convinced Vince to let the wrestlers write the storylines, to let the wrestlers kind of communicate with who they wanted as their rival or whatever, who wanted to be a heel, change up all the time. And that's what made it popular, was the wrestlers knew how to write these characters better than anybody else. And then Vince wanted to go back to the fucking PG era. And that's why that's why a ton of people stopped watching after like 2003 and 2004.
Well, you know, the reason they went to the whole PG thing is because his wife was running for a government office.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she was. Fuck. Well, that's what makes AEW so popular right now, is that the writers or the wrestlers are writing the characters, writing the storylines. Like, it's so funny to me, but yeah, I definitely need to watch AEW because it's got to be fun. But
oh, it is.
But yeah, like it was a decent time. Like it wasn't absolutely terrible. Like I said, one of my biggest complaints with the event was that because it was so choreographed, you could see bumps that were really bad. Like I think it was in the Xavier Woods match against Jinder Mahal where Jinder was supposed to like drop kick Xavier, and it was like the gap was like this wide, but Xavier still took the bump like he was getting hit, like you're supposed to. And I'm like, y'all, this looks worse than Power Rangers. What are you doing?
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so, but it was fun, and
it sounds like you had a good time.
Yeah, the end of the night was funny because I drove to the arena, and so that's why Josh was drinking. He was like I had one beer, and it was early in the night.
And it's a 3-hour plus long show, so
yeah. And I had a whole burger and 2 things of fries, so and I got a soda, so I wasn't even remotely drunk when we left. But the parking garage, the parking structure was very cluttered and congested because when you get to the bottom, when you get a ticket, you're supposed to pay for using the parking garage. Usually in Sacramento, there's a machine as you're walking into the building that you can pay right there. That way everyone can just leave. Not this new one that's right next to the fucking Golden One Center. So it was.
They had the actual booth with the person in it taking the ticket.
He was there, but no, it was all digital. But it was it wasn't walk up. You had to drive up to it. So it was just constant like move and then wait, a few minutes and then move again and then wait a few minutes. So it took forever for us to get out of there. But the funniest part was my brother, because he used to live in Sacramento, is a very aggressive driver. You tend to be a little bit more aggressive in a city than, a town or a rural area. And from my understanding. Anyway.
Tell that to people here. Betty can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Kingsport, Stone Drive. Oh my God.
I'm not.
Yeah, that's where
aggressive.
I got called a stupid cunt bitch. So yeah.
the what ended up happening was where we parked, it would have been very hard for me to turn out and into the line. So what I like, and Josh was sitting there like, you just need to pull out and in. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Like he was like, you just need to pull out in. And I'm like, where am I going to go? Like, how am I going to be able to do that, Josh? You explain it to me. Because that gap is not wide enough for a full-on U-turn. I'd have to stop the entire line going that way in order to do a full-on U-turn. He was like, just push your way in. Be aggressive. And I'm like, it's not about being aggressive. It's about the logistics of a fucking car and where we're parked. So what I did is I cut through the line, went to the back area, and then flipped a bitch and then cut in. But because I couldn't figure out exactly where I was going to cut in, my Josh is on the phone with my little brother Jeff. So I have both of them telling me to be assertive and to be aggressive. And I'm like, guys, to do this, I literally just have to like push my way in. So here's an idea. Shut the fuck up and let me drive.
Yep.
And they're both laughing. So finally, I see a small window and I take it. Well, the woman that I cut off to get into the line was pissed. And I caught a glimpse of her face before like I turned the car enough to where I couldn't see her. And so as we're like slowly inching my way into the line, I'm laughing because Josh is just like, dude, this woman is like, I can feel the heat coming off of her. She's so mad. And it's so fucking funny to me. So we get to another part and an Escalade like comes in, and I fucking like, you couldn't put a piece of paper between me and the car in front of me. I was like, you're not fucking cutting me off. Like fuck you, dude. But he did cut off the woman that I cut off.
Jesus.
And I'm fucking like, I had tears in my eyes laughing, and he's like, dude, you're gonna get a shank tonight.
Yeah, he's sitting there. You're going to get a shank, but he's the one that told you to be aggressive and cut people off.
Yeah, I was like, this is your fault. You deal with her anger. That shit was fucking funny.
It sounds like overall, though, you guys had a really good time, and that's a good thing. You know, and you got to spend some quality time with your brother.
Yeah, my biggest concern when he invited me was I knew how long these events can go because I've been to 2 Raws and a SummerSlam. Fun fact about the SummerSlam, by the way, about 3 months, maybe about a month prior to the SummerSlam or whatever the other pay-per-view was, Stone Cold Steve Austin at this time was a heel, and the face was Kurt Angle, which was not a common thing you'd see, but it was a thing at the time. And Kurt Angle was in the ring with a couple of the people, including who the fuck was he in the ring with? It doesn't matter, but he came out with a beer truck and sprayed beer.
Oh, I remember that.
The SummerSlam following that event, Kurt Angle came out with a milk truck and sprayed Stone Cold and everybody else in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at that event live.
Oh, wow. I remember watching that live. And I was like, this is silly, the milk truck. But it fit his wholesome fucking character at the time. I've got a picture of myself and 2 of my friends with Kurt Angle. We met him. We met him at an old TNA event in Pikeville, Kentucky, a few years back.
An old tits and ass event?
Well, Total Nonstop Action is what it stood for. TNA.
Tits and ass events. I love them. It's funny you say that because
it reminds me of a time. It reminds me of a time in my misspent youth when I found a billboard sign that said something old-fashioned tent revival for a church, and I made it say tits and ass revival. I wasn't a nice kid.
Oh, I think we figured that one out by now.
A fun small memory that I have about wrestling is my parents would always sit there and be like, it's fake, right? It's fake. And my brothers are like, uh-huh. You don't have to tell us again because we're well aware. It's not the point of why we watch it, but keep going, I guess. When that movie came out, Man on the Moon, but Andy Kaufman, there's a whole segment of Andy Kaufman's life where he plays a heel. and his face was his opponent was Jerry the King Lawler. And what Andy Kaufman did as his heel persona was he was super, super misogynistic. And when that movie was coming out, my mom was like, I fucking hate Andy Kaufman. Why? Because he's misogynistic. And I was like, how is he misogynistic? And she starts explaining his wrestling persona. I was like, Mom, that was a wrestling persona. That's not who he actually is. That was a whole character that he created. As a matter of fact, pretty much if he was on camera, he was in a character, period. And she's like, well, why do you say all that stuff on David Letterman and whatnot? I was like, because he was playing a character.
Lawler knocked the shit out of him on Letterman. It was great.
Yeah, because Andy told him to, and he was like actually hit me. I fucking love Andy Kaufman. But what I'm getting at with that my mom made me laugh about was she'd sit there in one breath and say that she hated Andy Kaufman because he was misogynistic, but in the next breath say wrestling was fake. And I'm like, all right, what is it? Either he's actually misogynistic and you believe wrestling's real, or he was playing a character and your reaction to him is a bit over dramatic. Like, which is it, Mom?
Well, your mom is part of the soap opera generation, which is the same generation that actually wrote letters to the villains of these soap operas because they hated them so much. And how dare they? And and I'm like, bitches be crazy.
Oh my God. The actor he's passed away now. Played Stefano D'Amara
On Days of Our Lives.
Joe Mascolo. So many grandmothers got so mad at him.
They hated him and they wanted to fuck him at the same time.
I hate you, but I am moist.
Yep.
Well, that was another funny thing was I remember back in it was 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. And it was either Raw or SmackDown was in Sacramento. So Good Day Sacramento decided to interview Stone Cold. And Stone Cold was out of character. It was just Steve. And he's talking to them about how great the show is and where the storyline's going. And he said, and one of the questions was, what do you say to people who say that wrestling's fake? And he goes, well, there's two factors. When we're on stage, when we're in front of a camera or in that ring, we're playing a character. It's a persona. And if we're the bad guy or the good guy is all entirely dependent on where the storyline is and how the audience is reacting to us. That stuff is all a soap opera. The stuff inside the ring, we're actually doing those moves. Yes, we're trained to do them. Yes, we know how to take those hits. And that's the point. We're making it look as painful as you would imagine it could be, but we're not actually hurt. We've been trained for years to know how to fall into the ring to where it doesn't hurt us. So you could look at wrestling as a soap opera with action, and that's why it draws people in. That's why people enjoy it. And the anchor was just like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard it put that way before. Really?
Yeah. A ring, when they fall, when they get knocked down, it's called taking a bump. And the ring itself, it's a steel frame, and then the floor of the ring is just plywood planks laid across, and then there is a thin 2-inch piece of foam that goes down over the ring, and then a canvas. And the canvas is like a rug. Falling on, basically, you're falling on a wooden floor. That shit over time takes a toll on the body. It hurts, but when you're trained to do it and your adrenaline's up, it doesn't hurt as badly. But yeah, injuries, they have some horrific injuries from time to time. The shit really can fuck somebody up that's not trained properly to do it. It's like, hey, let's go and do
stuntmen.
this.
They're gonna have injuries,
Yeah, they're basically stuntmen. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what they are. They're stuntmen. They have been trained to do these moves with the least amount of injury possible. There's always going to be injury. It's just trying to do it with the least amount of injury possible.
A great
Oh
film.
my God, I remember one pay-per-view. There was Sid Vicious. He was supposed to come off the second rope with just a simple double axe handle, like, just overhead double-fisted downward punch onto a guy. Or no, not that. It was supposed to be a kick to the face, land on one leg, kick to the face. He came down and his ankle just snapped in half. Oh, it's horrific to watch. Look up Sid Vicious ankle break.
Nope.
And
I'll take your word for it.
It was bad. It was bad.
Uh,
But you were going to say great movie.
Yeah, great movie to see in regards to, like, it has a lot to do with mental health, but it's a fantastic movie. It's called The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Oh my God, it's so fucking good. But what it does showcase really well is the toll that this job takes on a body. Like, he's broken, but he still goes into the ring, and he's like warned by his doctors, like, stop wrestling or you'll die. He doesn't care. This is his life. And
Yeah.
you have to watch the movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend. There's a show on Stars right now that I really want to watch. That's CM Punk. I need to watch it. It sounds so good.
I want to watch it too.
Trying to think of the other stuff that, like, I've watched interviews. Apparently Stone Cold has his own podcast called Broken Skull.
Oh, it's great. His podcast, I've listened to it off and on for 5 or 6 years. He's great.
One of the wrestlers that I loved as a kid, still, like, I think he's awesome, is Undertaker. And the guy who plays Undertaker,
Mark Calloway.
Yeah. He never did interviews. He never talked to fans.
He never broke character.
Never broke character. He's old school. Old school. And back in the old school days, you never broke character, period. Because the idea was that the entertainment was supposed to carry outside of the ring as well. So for years, he never did interviews. And when I say years, I'm talking decades. Never did interviews. But now that he's fully fucking retired and he's no longer going to be playing Undertaker, he's like doing all these interviews. And I'm like, where the fuck can I find them? I need to listen to what fucking he has to say.
Do you have Peacock?
Yeah.
Okay. There's 2 Broken Skull interviews with the Undertaker on there.
Oh,
and they're wonderful. There's a whole series. There's a whole documentary that they did that he filmed over the course of several years when he knew he was getting ready to retire. On there, I'm trying to think of what it is. The Last Ride. You need to watch The Last Ride.
Okay. Yeah, I do. One year, my friend and I, we were going to try to do Undertaker and Paul Bearer. I was going to be Paul Bearer, but that never came to fruition.
That would have been awesome. Yeah. You would have made a great Percy Pringle.
I was doing my best fucking, like...
Don't do voice. Oh, God. Yeah, back in the day, I'm sorry, Betty. I know you're not a big wrestling fan. I have a lot of stories or anything, and we've just kind of taken over this. I feel bad.
I'm working on my Inktober project, so it's all good.
Back in the day, though, back in the territory days, before it was just WWE and now AEW and a couple of other smaller, like Impact and Ring of Honor, every region used to have its own territory. Like where I live, there were a couple right next to each other, but the biggest was Mid-Atlantic territory, and that was the Jim Crockett Promotions, the old NWA, what evolved into WCW. That's what I grew up on. But there was also Mid-South, there was Georgia, there was Florida, there was AWA up in Wisconsin, there was a Portland territory, there were several territories in Texas. You had the Funks, you had, anyway, a lot of promoters, the guys that ran the territories and that booked all the shows, they had rules. Heels and faces could not ride together. You couldn't be seen in public together, because there's a term in the business called kayfabe, Kayfabe. If you were caught breaking kayfabe, you were in trouble. Usually a fine, what have you. And it's basically, make it look real to the public at all times,
Right.
And fucking back in the day, there was a feud with Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, and wonderful matches. These two could put on fucking matches like you wouldn't believe. They would go to hour-long draws. They were great and just exciting, great matches. And it was funny because, where I live, it's like one town over. They got pulled over for drinking and driving, and they had a whole case of beer that they had picked up at Tiger Market in Coburn together. And they got fined because they were traveling together. They weren't supposed to be traveling together. Here they are in a little Southwest Virginia town getting pulled over for drinking and driving, riding together. And it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I bet they got in a lot of trouble for that.
But yeah, wrestling can be fun. It's not as popular as what it used to be, but
AEW seems to be like I've heard from way the fuck too many people to watch AEW. So
it's catching on. It's growing. It's a lot of fun, and it's gotten me back into it for the first time in about 6 years. So
yeah, no, that's why I want to watch it. And it's tonight. It's on Wednesday nights, right? Wednesday and
Wednesday nights at 8:00.
There you go.
And Friday nights at 10:00. So I DVR it and watch it the next day because Wednesday nights I'm always podcasting.
Yeah, I was
and then playing games with you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's my Wednesday nights is usually game night, so it's but yeah, why don't we go ahead and wrap this puppy up? Like I said, guys, we don't have anything planned for the foreseeable future to review until like another series comes out or a movie or something like that. I know that this Friday I'm going to be definitely watching Dune. I'm very excited about that. But
I'm going to watch it too. What about you, Betty?
What's that coming on?
Dune. It comes on HBO Max.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, either way, I was already planning on watching it, so whether we review it or not, it's getting watched.
Yeah, I'm planning on watching it too. I have the book and I've never read the book. I would like for somebody who's read the book to watch it and then compare it with us. I would like to do that.
My dad's read the book, but he's not coming on the podcast. So yeah, and my dad's a huge Dune fan. So yeah,
there's like 8 books, right? Like,
I know there's a series. I don't know how many there are, but
I don't know. My dad read the shit back when he was a teenager in the 70s.
Dune. Let's see. Franchise. There's I feel like there we go. Novels. There's Dune, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and then Dune Chapter House. And then there's a second series that's not written by Frank Herbert.
So there's six.
It's by his
six
son
books
Brian
in
Herbert.
The original.
And then Brian Herbert, his son, wrote Prelude to Dune, which has 3 books, Legends of Dune, which has 3 books, Hunters of Dune, Sandworms of Dune, Heroes of Dune, which is 2 books, Great Schools of Dune, which is 3 books, and the Caldon Trilogy, which is 3 books.
It's just too much.
Yeah, it is. Oh my god, and there's short stories that take place in Dune. Holy goddamn.
Yeah, I know Dune fans are really big on the lore, so I'm going
into this. There's video games.
Yeah.
I'm going into this almost completely blind. The only reference I have to Dune, I've never seen the original movie, and I watched the sci-fi original series or the sci-fi mini-series original series. The mini-series they did back in the year 2000. I watched it. I don't even know if I finished it, so I remember it not being good. But the trailer for this looks interesting, and I know people that have been frothing at the mouth over this. So I'm going to watch it because it looks intriguing.
Almost like comic book readers. I've seen the novel readers fucking like, if you've never seen or read Dune, this is it. And I'm like, okay. So I'm excited. But But yeah, guys. So like I said, we don't have anything we're going to review next week. Maybe we'll have like a game or some better topics because we kind of just went into this raw dogging it.
No pun intended.
So yeah, that's it, and that's all. Make sure you check out our Teespring store. Lots of stuff on there that you can buy. I think we were talking about adding more stuff on there, maybe for the winter season, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel and subscribe to it, because what I'm going to do today is download the stream we had for Jackbox 8 and try to upload each game individually onto the YouTube channel. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that, or you want to check out what the new games look like, you'll be able to do that here very soon over at All Queued Up Podcast on YouTube. But other than that, I think that's it that I have note-wise. Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name, Maya Don Fisher. It's a public profile, so if you want to also follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you can do so. Those are linked to my Facebook page. I'm also involved with other podcasts on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel. Every Wednesday, on alternating Wednesdays, 1 week, it is an action figure review show called Figure Bangin'. That is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And on alternating Wednesdays, Shelf Gravy at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, which is a diorama building, figure painting, figure customization, miniature painting, model building type show, where we show off what we're working and give advice on techniques, things like that. And then on every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, with the exception of this week because TFCon's happening in Baltimore and I was supposed to be there, but because of the pandemic, I can't be there. So fuck all of you anti-mask, anti-vaxxers, pieces of shits. Yeah, every Friday at 9, Nerd Life Syndicate, where we talk about all things in pop culture and entertainment for the week, ranging from TV shows, movies, comic books, toys, etc. And that's everywhere where you can find me. What about you, Benny?
You can find me on Facebook at Betty Badger Ogletree, and you can find me on Twitter at Bright Betty. Go check out what I've been doing for Inktober 2021. You, Greg?
Solid work over there.
Thank you.
You can follow me on all social medias under Chub Rock Geek. We're going to try to be streaming more Jackbox here in the future. I don't know about this Saturday, but definitely when time permits. But it's going to be Saturdays when we stream it. So follow me, follow the All Queued Up social medias, because we'll advertise it when we're going to go live. But if you want to join us again, like I said, Saturdays over on twitch.tv/ChubRockGeek. That's about it at the moment. I know that Anthony recently got a new computer, so he's been trying to get everything up and running again so we can start uploading videos. But yeah, I'll mention that when that starts to become more of a thing. But yeah, that's about it for me. Like I said, nothing next week. If you have any topics or ideas that you want us to talk about, let us know on the social medias, and we'll bring them up. We'll see what our opinions are of them next week. But yeah, that's it. That's it, and that's all. Everyone,
Peace, love, and lollipops.
Take care, everybody.